9th standard. We will continue with our lesson number 4.3 Intellectual Rubbish. Open page number 96. Let's begin. Be very wary of opinions that flatter your self-esteem. ऐसे ओपिनियन से वेरी मीन्स कॉशियस रहो जो तुम्हारे सेल्फ स्टीम को फ्लैटर करते हैं. मीन्स के डिसऑनेस्ट स्टेटमेंट से बच के रहो. ओके, डिसऑनेस्ट स्टेटमेंट ना दिया करो. बोथ मेन एंड वीमेन 9 times out of 10 are firmly convinced of the superior excellence of their own sex. There is abundant evidence on both sides. If you are a man, you can point out that most poets and men of science are male. If you are women, you can retort that so are most criminals. Men and women think that they are superior of their own sex. Men think करते हैं कि वो superior है, so that they can say most poet or scientists are what? Male. But women can retort. Retort mean answer back. Okay? Women answer ये भी दे सकते हैं कि ज़्यादातर criminal कौन है? Men है. और ऐसे ही वो अपने आप को एक दूसरे से superior समझते हैं. The question is inherently insoluble, but self-esteem conceal this from most people. Okay? और ये जो क्वेश्चन है वो इनहेरेंटली इंसॉल्यूबल है. इनहेरेंटली मीन्स बाय नेचर. ये कोई समझ नहीं सकता कि कौन ज़्यादा सुपीरियर है, पर सेल्फ स्टीम कंसील दिस फ्रॉम मोस्ट पीपल. We are all, whatever part of the world we come from, persuaded that our own nation is superior to all others. Seeing that each nation has its characteristic merits and demerits, we adjust our standard of values so as to make out that the merits possessed by our nation are the really important ones, while its demerits are comparatively trivial. Next example of superiority and inferiority complex given here is that everybody thinks that their country is superior. Okay, उनका जो nation है वो क्या है? superior है. और ये prove करने के लिए वो अपने standard, अपने value adjust करते हैं ताकि सामने वाले को लगे कि वो superior क्यों है. But each and every nation has its merit as well as demerits. हर एक चीज़ का क्या होते हैं? फ़ायदे भी होते हैं, नुकसान भी होते हैं, merits भी है और demerits भी है. Okay? Here again, the rational man will admit that the question is the one to which there is no demonstrably right answer. It is more difficult to deal with the self-esteem of a man as man because we cannot argue out the matter with some non-human mind. The rational man. Rational man means who? इंटेलेक्चुअल मैन. ओके, जो दिमाग से सोचते हैं वो भी इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर डिमॉन्स्ट्रेबली राइट नहीं दे सकते. इट इज़ मोर डिफ़िकल्ट टू डील विद द सेल्फ स्टीम ऑफ मैन एज मैन. हम नॉन ह्यूमन थिंग से ऑफ कोर्स आर्ग्यू तो नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन एक मैन को दूसरे मैन से आर्ग्यू करना और डील करना क्या है? बहुत ही ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम वाला है, डिफ़िकल्ट है. The only way I know of dealing with this general human conceit is to remind ourselves that man is a brief episode in the life of a small planet in a little corner of the universe, and that for aught we know, other parts of the cosmos may contain beings as superior to ourselves as we are to jellyfish. The writer knows how to deal with the general human conceit. Conceit means pride. Okay, he says, we must not forget that we are a brief episode, means small part of this small planet. हम क्या है? एक छोटा सा हिस्सा इस छोटे से planet का. और इससे भी बड़ा क्या है? इससे भी बड़ा यूनिवर्स है. और क्या पता इस यूनिवर्स के किसी पार्ट में हमारे से भी ज़्यादा कुछ सुपीरियर होगा. As we think we are more superior than jellyfish. Okay? Other passions besides self-esteem are common sources of error. Of these, perhaps the most important is fear. Fear sometimes operates directly by inventing rumors of disaster in wartime or by imagining objects of terror such as ghosts. Sometimes it operates indirectly by creating belief in sometime comforting such as the elixir of life or havens for ourselves and the hell for our enemies. Okay, the next. This writer speaks about what? Fear. Fear means what? डर. डर एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो रूमर्स पैदा करता है वॉर टाइम में. ओके, और डर ये भी है कि किसी डरावनी चीज़ को इमेजिन करना, जैसे घोस्ट वगैरह को, राइट. And sometimes it operates indirectly, sometimes it creates what comfort also, such as elixir of life means a divine substance that made somebody immortal. It sometimes creates heaven for ourselves and hell for our enemies also. Okay, अगर हम डर पैदा करेंगे तो सामने वाला हमारे से और भी डर जाएगा, लेकिन अगर हम खुद डर गए तो फिर उसका कुछ फ़ायदा है नहीं है. ओके, सो समटाइम इट इज़ गुड ऑल्सो, समटाइम इट इज़ बैड ऑल्सो. Fear has many forms: fear of death, fear of the dark, fear of the unknown, and that vague generalized fear that comes to those who conceal from themselves their more specific terrors. Until you have admitted your own fears to yourself and have guarded yourself by difficult effort of will against their myth-making power, you cannot hope to think truly about many matters of great importance, especially those with which religious beliefs are concerned. Okay, fears have many forms, such as what? Fear of death, fear of dark. किसी को मरने से डर लगता है, किसी को अंधेरे से डर लगता है, and there is a fear of unknown also. और ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो वेग मीन्स फालतू का जनरलाइज्ड करके मीन्स कुछ भी सोच के क्या होते हैं, डर जाते हैं. एंड जब तक तुम तुम्हारे फियर को एडमिट नहीं करते तब तक तुम क्या उससे घिरे हुए हो मिथ मेकिंग पावर से. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस यू कैन नॉट थिंक ऑफ ग्रेट इंपॉर्टेंट मैटर्स एंड स्पेशली दोज विच विथ रिलीजियस बिलीव्स आर concerned. Okay, fear is the main source of superstition and one of the main source of cruelty. To conquer fear is the beginning of the wisdom in the pursuit of truth as in the endeavor after a worthy manner of life. So what is a fear? Fear is the main source of what? It is the main source of superstition and cruelty. So one must learn to conquer his fear, and that will be beginning of the wisdom. And then only we will be know what is the truth and what is the real meaning of the life. Okay. There are two ways of avoiding fear. One is by persuading ourselves that we are immune from disaster, and the other is by the practice of sheer courage. The latter is difficult and to everybody becomes impossible at a certain point. The former has therefore always been more popular. Fear को avoid करने के कितने ways है? There are two ways. One is by persuading means approving ourselves that we are immune to disaster. चाहे life में disaster कितने ही क्यों ना आए, हम उसे overcome कर लेंगे. And second one is practice of sheer courage means कि brave बनना. And according to the writer, the second one is what? Much difficult as compared to the first one. So everybody uses which way? The first way. Okay. Primitive magic has the purpose of securing safety either by injuring enemies or by protecting oneself by talismans, spells, or incantations. Without any essential change, belief in such ways of avoiding danger survived throughout the many centuries of civilization. Science has now lessened the belief in the magic, but many people place more faith in mascots than they are willing to avow. Neither a man nor a crowd nor a nation can be trusted to act humanly or to think sanely under the influence of great fear. And for this reason, patrons are more prone to cruelty than brave men, and are also more prone to superstition. Primitive magic means the magic in the ancient days was used to secure oneself. Before they used to what? They were used to have a talisman. And what is the meaning of talisman? It is a small object which used to fetch a good lucks. Okay, वो talisman पहनते थे या spells या कोई जादुई मंत्र वगैरह जो पढ़ते थे ताकि वो क्या हो सके, बच सके. Okay, incantation, it also means magical words recited in the same tone. पहले के ज़माने में लोग इन सब चीज़ों पे क्या करते थे, बिलीफ रखते थे, और ये कई सारे सेंचुरी से चलता भी आया है. But because of science, belief of such things have become what? Lesser. And even nowadays, neither a man nor a crowd nor a nation can be trusted to act humanly if they have what? Great fear. अगर किसी के दिल में fear है तो वो कभी भी अच्छे से कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. Okay? And because if these poltroon people are more prone to cruelty and superstition then as compared to who? Brave man. Poltroon means कोवर्ड पीपल, डरपोक पीपल, ओके, वो ज़्यादा क्रुएल्टी और सुपरस्टिशन से ज़्यादा क्या होते हैं, प्रोन होते हैं. But we have been getting to solemn superstition are not always dark and cruel. Often they add to the gaiety of life. I received once a communication from the god Osiris giving me his telephone number. He lived at that time in the suburb of Boston. Although I did not enroll myself among his worshippers, his letter gave me pleasure. I have frequently received letters from men announcing themselves as the Messiah and arguing me not to omit to mention this important fact in my lectures. But we have been getting too solemn. Solemn means dignified, sober, okay? Now, writer is saying that superstition is not always dark and cruel. Sometimes it adds gaiety to life. Gaiety means what? कभी कभी वो हमारी लाइफ को humorous भी बना देता है, okay? राइटर का उनको एक इंसिडेंट शेयर कर रहे हैं ऑफ गॉड ओसिरिस, ओके. वो उनके बारे में बता रहे हैं कि उन्होंने उनका टेलीफोन नंबर उनको दिया था और वो कहाँ रहते थे, सबब ऑफ बॉस्टन में. ऑल्दो ही वॉज नॉट हिज वर्शिपर बट हिज लेटर यूज टू गिव द राइटर द प्लेजर, ओके. एंड इवन ही हैड फ्रिक्वेंटली रिसीव्ड लेटर्स फ्रॉम मैन अनाउंसिंग देमसेल्फ एज मसीहा. ऐसे कई लोग थे जो राइटर को क्या भेजते थे, लेटर भेजते थे और क्या बोलते थे, एंड रिक्वेस्टिंग हिम टू मेंशन देम इन हिज लेक्चर. I admire especially a certain prophetess who lived beside a lake in northern New York State about the year 1820. She announced to her numerous followers that she possessed the power of walking on water and that she proposed to do so at 11 o'clock on a certain morning at the stated time. The faithful assembled in the thousands beside the lake. She spoke to them saying, "Are you all entirely persuaded that I can walk on water with one voice?" They replied, "We are." "In that case," she announced, "there is no need for me to do so." And they all went home much edified. Okay, now writer is sharing another incident of a prophetess who lived beside a lake in northern New York. And this is of year 1820. prophet का feminine gender क्या होता है, prophetess, okay. और उन्होंने क्या अनाउंस की थी कि वो उनके पास सुपर पावर है और उस वजह से वो मॉर्निंग में 11 o'clock पे एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे, एक पर्टिकुलर दिन पे ही वो वाटर पे क्या कर सकती है, चल सकती है. एंड देन एट द स्टेटेड टाइम द फेथफुल असेंबल्ड इन द थाउजेंड बिसाइड्स द लेक. और जो भी उसके वर्शिपर थे, जो उसके फॉलोवर्स थे, वो वहाँ पे क्या हुए, जमा हुए उस वाटर के पास, उस जो लेक के पास, ताकि उसे वो चलता हुआ देखने के लिए. ओके, देन एट दैट टाइम शी आस्क्ड अ क्वेश्चन टू देम दैट डू यू बिलीव दैट आई विल बी एबल टू वॉक ऑन द वाटर. क्या तुम्हें ऐसा लगता है कि मैं वाटर पे चल सकती हूँ? So everybody replied with one voice, "Yes, we are." हाँ, हम बिलीव करते हैं. Okay, then she said, "There is no need for me to do so." फिर मुझे करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. ओके, और फिर वो सारे घर चले गए. मच एडिफाइड मीन्स कन्फ्यूज होके. ऑफ कोर्स अगर तुम किसी पे बिलीव करते हो तो तुम्हें उसे कब उस पर प्रूफ क्यों चाहिए? इफ़ यू आर नॉट बिलीविंग देन यू नीड टू प्रूव इट, राइट. अगर सामने वाला तुम्हारे पर कोई कुछ आरोप लगाता है तो तुम पर बिलीव नहीं करता है तो तुम्हें उसे प्रूफ देना ज़रूरी है. लेकिन अगर तुम बिलीव करते तो उस पर प्रूफ की ज़रूरत ही क्या है? सेम थिंग हैपन्स हियर. ओके, सो व्हाट द राइटर वांट्स टू से दैट इफ़ यू आर नॉट श्योर, ask, raise your voice. Okay, perhaps the world would lose some of its interest and variety if such beliefs were wholly replaced by a cold science. Again, the world will become less interesting, or you can say boring, if it is wholly replaced by cold science. This is the writer's what thought also. A wise man will enjoy the goods of which there is a plentiful supply, and of intellectual rubbish he will find abundant diet in your own age as in every other. Now at last the writer is saying that a wise man will enjoy the good things, and there are lots of good things. There is a plentiful supplies. Okay, दुनिया में बहुत सारी अच्छी चीज़ें भी है और वो जो wise man है वो क्या करेगा, अच्छी चीज़ों को ही लेगा. Whereas the intellectual rubbish will do opposite of it. Okay, वो जो है स्टूपिड है, जो सुपरस्टिशन पे बिलीव करता है, फियर पे बिलीव करता है, वो क्या करेगा, वो उल्टा ही करेगा. और ये इसी ज़माने से नहीं, और या राइटर के ज़माने में ही नहीं, ये हर ज़माने से चलता आया है और अभी भी चल ही रहा है. ओके, in our age as in every other. Now our lesson is complete. Hope you have understood. If you have a problem, then contact me. Bye bye.